Welcome back. In this session, we are going to install Docker. So we can install Docker on a different operating system, and this is official documentation of Docker installation. So open this link. I have also attached this link into this video resource section. If you scroll down, and here you see Docker download Docker desktop, and this is very simple installation steps. So based on your operating system, you can click on this, and this is going to download the Docker installation software. Then double click that, and this is going to install Docker for you. And again, let's if you click on the Linux here, so you see here we have the steps to install Docker on the different Linux distribution. So maybe Ubuntu, Fedora, RHEL, so whatever operating system you want, you can follow all these steps and you will be able to install Docker. And in next session, I'm going to install a Docker on the window machine. So if you are using the window machine, then you can follow that one. But here I'm going to install this Docker on the Ubuntu machine on the remote virtual machine. So what I did, I have created a Ubuntu virtual machine on the Azure VM, and here we are going to install it. And here I would request everyone, please follow this, because in all upcoming session of this section we are going to run our application, we are going to do some hands-on, right? So all this application deployment will happen on the remote virtual machine, and where we need a Docker, right? So Docker installation on the remote virtual machine is important. Because of that, this session is very important, regardless of whether you are using your local computer as a window, macOS or window. So please stick with that, follow this and understand this. And again, local installation is also important. So when you are doing some tests, let's say creating some images, so that you need to test locally, right? So local installation is also important. So as I said, if you are using window operating system, then I'm going to create a next session on how to install Docker on the window machine. But if you are using, let's say, Mac OS, click here based on your Mac OS version is Silicon or the Intel chip, then download this, do double clicks, okay, it will install it, okay. And again, I'm going to show you for the window. So let's go ahead and follow these steps. So scroll down here. So first things first, we need to do apt update. And again, as I said, if you go here, if you want to follow the official documentation, of course you can follow here. It's given all the steps over here. For the Ubuntu, go ahead, follow this, all the steps are given over here, but I have created my own steps, okay, to make it easy, and this is tested. So first things first, we'll go ahead and okay, so I'm assuming you already have a Azure virtual machine got created with the public IP address, and you do SSH. You see here I am on my Azure virtual machine and I'm using Ubuntu operating system. So let me run this command sudo apt update, and after that we need to install Docker. So this is command to install the Docker engine. So let me copy this and paste this, and this is going to install. And no, all these commands we are going to use again and again on different virtual machine when we need to install Docker, and it will take a couple of seconds, and then we can check the status of Docker if this is running, okay. And we will see if this is running, it will be active, and again we can start it Docker if this is not running, but mostly it will be running, okay. So let's check the status. Now we see this is running, right? So let me close this. All good, and that's all that what we need to do. So we can start it if you want. Now let's go ahead and run the first container called Hello World. So whenever we create any learn any tool, right, we run the Hello World application, right? So similar, let's do that. But this is not going to run, we are going to get a error, as you see. You know why? Because Docker always run with the root user, and that is the one of the problem. So when we have installed this, and this is got installed with the root user, so we again we need to run all containers with the root user, and this is not the ideal way, right? So for that, what we need to do, we are going to, we got this error, we are going to add a user to the docker group. Okay, so my current user, the user which I logged in, I'm going to add to the docker group. Okay, and then I will have my, this user will have the permission. Okay, so let me do that. And now we need to again, this will not work. Okay, we need to change the user. Okay, so either I need to change the, what I can say, uh, log out and log in again. I need to open the new terminal. Okay, but let me do one thing. I have already created this command, so let me go here and type the docker demo. And again, you can use this repository. I'm going to use a lot for doing all the hands-on. Okay, so again, here we have all this installation steps, but here, okay, so okay, I think let's do this couple of commands as well. So yeah, so docker version, we can check it, this is running. Okay, and we need to enable this. Okay, so that is very important steps. So let me do this here. Okay, all looks good. Then docker status, we can check it. Of course, this was running. Okay, fine. Now, okay, we got this error when we were running. Then we need to add this, right? We already did this. Then we need to log out and log in back. Okay, for that we can run this command. So what I will do, again, I'm going to add this link, because this is very good documentation I have created. Okay, now we can go and run this, and we will see this is going to run our container. Now what you see here, let me walk you through. So basically, so when, so this is docker run, right? And hello world, so this is going to run a container called hello world, and for that it's need the image, right? So hello world, this image is not available on locally, right? So it's saying cannot find hello world image locally. Okay, so what this did, this pull this image from the remote repository from docker hub. So this is what we see, this is pulled and then this is started. Now let me clear the screen, and we already understood couple of commands like docker images. If you type here, then we will see we have one image here, docker, sorry, hello world, right? Now we can also see docker ps if this is running. Okay, now we see this is not running, so maybe there is some problem, it didn't get run. But if you type docker here all, then we see our even stopped containers. Okay, so we see this is the stopped container, so maybe there is some problem with this image. Of course, we can go ahead and check the log using docker logs and container name. Okay, but instead of, let's go ahead and run a different container. So let's call, okay, let's do docker pull, and we are going to pull a image from the docker hub. Okay, and nginx nginx. So let's pull this image first, because we need the image, right? So we need to pull it, and even means if you don't want to pull it, we can go ahead and directly type to run the container, then it will automatically pull from the remote. Now we pull this image, do docker images. Now we see we have nginx image here, right? Now if you go and run docker run -d, and of course you can pass the name. If you don't pass the name, so it's going to create the container with the doc nginx name, then pass the image nginx. Okay, and hit the enter. Now this is used the local image, and this is created the container here. Okay, now type docker ps, and we will see we have this container is running nginx. Okay, so this is name. Okay, so actually what it did is pick the uh, any random name. If you don't give the any name, it will create the random name. Okay, so this is the image, this is the process id, and This is the command entry point, okay, is created 9 seconds ago. Status is up and running, and this is the port on port 80, and this is the name. Okay, again, if you want to run with the certain name, we can give minus minus name. Okay, my nginx. Okay, hit the enter, is created. Then let me clear the screen and docker ps. Okay, now we see we have another container running, and this is my nginx, right? Perfect. Now this is working fine. So these are the steps we need to follow when you need to install the docker on the linux, especially on the ubuntu. So please go ahead and bookmark this, because we are going to use this repository all the time for installing the docker on our remote virtual machine. Well, so that's pretty much. Thank you so much. See you in the next session.